Can you imagine coming back from a trip and finding a completely outrageous roaming bill? Hundreds of euros just for using data without realizing it. That's why more and more travelers are using eSIMs like HolaFly. However, before you buy one, there are several important details you should know. In this video, I'm going to tell you 10 things you need to know before buying a HolaFly eSIM so you can make the most of it from the very beginning. And believe me, if you're about to travel, this can save you time, money, and a lot of headaches. And if you travel often, don't miss point number 10. Let's start with one of the most common mistakes that most travelers make even before leaving home: the roaming mistake. The first mistake, and probably the most common of all, is to keep using your own carrier's roaming when you travel. We often think using the internet a little isn't a big deal, but the reality is different. Depending on your carrier, you might have very few gigabytes included abroad, and when they run out, extra charges start. And that's where the surprises on your bill come in. That's why alternatives like HolaFly have become so popular, because they let you travel with data already included and without that uncertainty of how much you'll end up paying. Second, something key that you have to check. Now, before buying an eSIM for your trip, there's something you absolutely have to check. And that's because not all phones are compatible with this technology. This is something that a lot of people overlook, and it's key. It's easy, just go to the Holafly website, where they have an updated list of compatible devices. The vast majority of new ones are, but never forget to check that beforehand. Also, there's another important point. Your phone has to be unlocked by your carrier, meaning you should be able to use other carriers' networks. This doesn't just apply to HolaFly, but to any eSIM or SIM card you want to use abroad. Call your carrier if you're not sure. So before you buy anything, check these two things: compatibility and unlocking. Third point, how easy it is to get started. Once you're sure your phone is compatible, comes the easy part. And also one of the reasons why so many people are starting to use eSIMs. The process is practically immediate. You buy your eSIM on the HolaFly website, you receive a QR code in your email, you scan it from your phone, and in just a few minutes, it's already installed. No shipping, no waiting, and no need to look for a physical store when you arrive at your destination. And the best part is that you can have it ready before you travel and activate it as soon as you land. So from the very first moment, you have a connection. You can even do it directly from the app, which makes everything even easier. Also, if you decide to try it with the code Europa Acompañada 5, you get a 5% discount, which is always nice. Fourth, choose the right type of eSIM. Now, another important point is to choose the right type of HolaFly eSIM for your trip. If you're visiting only one country, it's best to buy an eSIM for that location. But if your trip includes several countries, this is where regional eSIMs come into play. For example, the Europe eSIM, which is one of the ones we use the most, or the Balkans eSIM, which we used on one of our recent trips. Of course, it's important to carefully check on the website which countries are included in each regional plan to avoid surprises. And if you're taking a trip with several destinations or traveling through different continents, you also have the option of a global eSIM. Fifth, unlimited data. Another of the most attractive features of HolaFly is that it offers unlimited data in more than 200 destinations. This means you can use the internet without constantly worrying about how many GB you have left, which gives you a lot of peace of mind when you're traveling. With HolaFly, you can share internet with other devices. The number of GB per day depends on the destination. This is available in more than 200 destinations. In this last point, we saw how important it is to not worry about the connection, and that way you can enjoy your trip even more. Do you like all the images we're seeing from our trips as the video goes on? In all of them, and in many more, we were always accompanied by the HolaFly eSIM. Sixth, a feature that many people don't know about. It's called Always On. Beyond the basics, There are several details that really make a difference when you use a HolaFly eSIM on a trip. One of them is a little-known and very, very useful feature: Always On. It's available in more than 70 destinations and basically acts as a backup so you don't run out of internet even if your plan expires. What is the eSIM? Which eSIM? Data plan? You have a 1 gig monthly reserve to stay connected. This is especially useful in situations where you absolutely need a connection and your plan has already run out. Situations like booking a ride, checking a map, or contacting someone. You don't use it often, but when needed, it makes a big difference. 7th, you don't have to remove your SIM. Another key point, which many people value, is that you never need to remove your physical SIM. Some people overlook this. This means you keep your number, your contacts, and your usual settings without changing anything. You avoid the risk of losing your SIM card, damaging it, or simply forgetting where you put it. That's something that happens more often than you might think when you're traveling. The whole process is much more convenient because you can manage everything directly from your phone without having to physically change anything. 8th, customer support. Something that also adds a lot to the experience is customer support. HolaFly offers 24-hour customer service in Spanish with real people. This may seem like a minor detail, but when you're in another country with a different language or in a situation where you need quick help, having accessible support makes a big difference. Whether it's before buying, during installation, or while you're using the eSIM, you know you have someone there. That peace of mind when you're far from home is something that's truly appreciated, especially if you depend on the internet for work, getting around, or staying in touch with family. Because in the end, it's not just about having data, but about having a solution that works when you really need it. It also gives you peace of mind knowing you're not disconnected during critical moments. 9th, the peace of mind of knowing you can get a refund. This point is extremely important, the refund policy. If for any reason you decide not to use the eSIM and you haven't installed it, you can request a refund. This greatly reduces the risk when buying, because you know you have that leeway in case you change your plans or simply make a mistake when choosing. 10th, if you travel a lot, this will interest you. If you travel frequently or need to stay connected in different places, a monthly subscription option, or Fly plans, which includes 160 destinations. The advantage is that you can have data in multiple destinations without having to buy a new eSIM every time you travel. And also, you can cancel it at any time, which gives you a lot of flexibility. If that sounds like you, with the code Europa Acompanada, you get a 10% discount for the first 12 months. Ultimately, this all comes down to something simple. If you want to have internet access from the very first moment, without complications, and with a very convenient solution, HolaFly is a great option. Here on the screen, there's a QR code so you can go directly to the HolaFly website and start your trip already connected.